I don't know what Victor means by news of 4 o'clock. All I know is that Chukudi Okuli Gwaja is here.
Find out the last time he saw a shrink. You know who's a shrink? That's the informal English for psychiatrist. Find out when
That's
he saw
below
his
the
shrink.
belt, below the belt.
Newspaper o'clock. Don't
worry. Are we not here now?
I like creative guys like you.
All right, Chukudi, good to see you. Welcome. Let's quickly take a look at the...
How are you doing?
Very well. Let's take a look at the papers quickly. The lead story on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning says CSO's opposition rise against Electoral Act. Above that, ICPC raids El-Rufai's Abuja residents. That's on page 7, because that drama is not about to end anytime soon. Away from that, FCT Council's polls how PDP candidates withdrew from race. Rivers Assembly suspends impeachment plot against Fubara deputy. That's on page 12 of the Daily Trust. And looking below the picture story, there's a troubling story here that says gunmen attack Kebbi communities, kill 35. That's on page 5. And just beside the picture story, election week declares today work free in FCT, and that's on page 34. Gunmen invade palace, kill traditional ruler. Military launches new operations against terrorists in Kwara, Niger. That's about it on the front page. But of course, this picture story is quite interesting because the title is that Kwara may become safer. Looks like the security chiefs having meetings with the governor and, of course, the stakeholders in that state to ensure that there's no repeats of the attack that occurred in that state this February. All right, away from that, let's look at the nation. The nation leads with 58.47 trillion naira budget 2026 within safe limit, says Finance Minister. In the red strip just above the main headline, we have how we tracked arrested Owo Church attackers by DSS witnessed. All of that you can find on page 4. Below the masthead, experts endorse executive order on oil gas revenue remittance. Pegasus seeks reversal of action. Above the masthead, ex-Kaduna governor in our custody, says ICPC. Strictly follow procurement laws. Federal government orders MDAs. And that's on page 7. And we have troops kill 3 terrorists, arrest alleged drone supplier. And finally, Rivers mourn as Senator Mpigi dies at 64. That's on page 4 of The Nation.
That came to me as news.
All right, Victor.
Well, I have the Leadership Friday. The story just below the nameplate. ADC, Utome, Falana, Ezekwesili fault electoral law, vow to resist rigging. It's on page 18. Rivers Assembly stops impeachment proceedings against Fubara. It's on page 17. Just beside the nameplate, we are not aware of Super Eagles coach's $130,000 monthly salary demand that's credited to the NFF. And you get details of that on page 29. And the major story here reads, survivors relive tragic moments of Plateau mine disaster. And that story is on page 7. Of course, the picture story details victims of Tuesday gas explosion at a mining site being prepared for burial in Zurak community, was a local government area of Plateau State yesterday. And to the story, just 2 strips above the picture story. Pengasan faults Tinubu's oil revenue executive order, says it violates PIA provisions. Details on page 20. And Hisba arrests 10 in Kanu for alleged Ramadan violation is on page 7. And to the final set of stories in politics, FCT polls, INEC begins deployment of sensitive materials amidst tight security is on page 18. And stock investors gain 22.177 trillion naira within 7 weeks this year on page 12. ICPC officials search El-Rufai's Abuja residence on page 7. And finally, Law must take its course, King Charles says as UK police arrest his brother, Andrew. Details on page 6. Chukwudi.
The PIA you're talking about must refer to the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. The faulting it is the force of argument. Ultimately, if they think they have a case, Nigerians will say, go to court. But that's a good one. I like it when you do not let things just have a free fall. That the presidency has been voted for to take care of the lives of the rest of us does not mean that we don't have a right. And I thank God that somebody like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will tell you that freedom of expression is something you must guard jealously. So it doesn't mean we don't have a right to say, hey, this thing is not exactly that way. What you want in all of this is the good faith that should go with it. Anybody can say anything. What is purpose in all of that? What is purpose, intended to achieve? What purpose is intended to achieve? That's where the good faith comes in. So let them argue on it, and the Nigerian people get the best of what that can offer. Now, you read something concerning Fubara. Sometimes I like to toy with the Fubara and the Rivers lawmakers. I didn't I said Rivers lawmakers because those are really,
we heard you.
Those are really the people whom we should be talking about, to me as a journalist. Other players are free to do certain things, but those are the people.
Of course, the same way people talk about the TV and not the remote control.
Yes, yes. When they got to a stage, I mused over it and said, they don't know that Fubara has become unimpeachable. That one takes time. The Ghana even said so. He's growing too in going through the different labyrinths that politics offers you. He's learning fast. Whatever they learn, whatever they say, let everyone think about the welfare of Rivers people. Because my people will tell you, we like you to make all arguments you want to make. But does it have the element of Mwezi Madu? You know what Mwezi Madu stands for in my place? It's about transparency, honesty, truthfulness, being your neighbor's keeper, the things that make a community thrive well. So let them have the Mwezi Madu attitude in whatever they do. You
guys call it Omoluabi.
Omoluabi. Oh, is that what the name means? I spent more than 12 years in Yoruba land and I didn't learn Yoruba properly. What a shame. So the good intentions for the ordinary people, all these big Uibo, they don't mean much to me. What percolates down to the ordinary people at the end of the day, because that is what is going to give you legacy that will never die. It's not the jeeps you're sharing to people. An accident destroys a jeep. An earthquake kills a house. But nothing kills the fact that he was a man of truth when he was alive. That's why I tell Africa, return to what we were. But when we say there's a bush people, old-fashioned, bush dogs say, make it look person we won't climb, go meet God. Tree we don't climb tire, he still don't know where God is. You must return to the truth about how life should be lived before we can see peace on the African soil.
That's a good message at this time, really. Returning to how, we should...
How we were.
We were.
How we were.
A time where if one person died, maybe from an accident or whatever it is, the whole nation would be
the community cried.
Very sad. That leads me to this story about the attack in Kebbi community that killed 35 people.
Yes.
These stories have just not left us for a while now, and it's really saddening that,
What I, as an information manager, as a journalist, what I dread is that calamity is fast becoming normal news in my country. That is jeopardy. You cannot define its monstrous, dimensions, tentacles. When calamity becomes normal news in our country, doomsday is not far away. but may God not let us walk into our doom. It's unfortunate. Again, it goes back to what we said initially.
Yeah.
Who are the people doing this? And who are the people who may be behind them as well? The Christians will say, Jacob's, is it Jacob's hand or Esau's voice? You're going to tell me again you're a Christian. Are you a Christian? Because I didn't remember it properly.
You already said it.
Keep quiet. You know? So, who are those behind these people? Because fifth columnists have become Nigeria's real problems. You think it's those boys bearing AK-47 that are your real enemies? Somebody is behind them. And what does it take to ferret them out and tell them you are not an asset to the green, white, green flag? These are the issues.
Right.
Before we go, I just want this, call it lesson from abroad. Law must take its course, King Charles says, as UK police arrest his brother, Andrew.
Why does the UK thrive? It's not because they have many pastors. It's not because they have mosques and churches all over the place. They will tell you it is not done. A British person or an American person can shoot himself rather than face dishonor. Yeah. And so what? Who do you know who I am? Where is that man? Do you know who I am? You will say, who are you? Did you marry a wife for me? Did you train my children in school? Did you build a house for me? Why should I be interested in who you are? A stupid question. Ask it on the face of the day. The law must take its course. The Western world is thriving today because they will tell you that the institutions of America or the UK, look at the pushback Trump is experiencing. That pushback will continue because they have their sense of social etiquette.
All right. It's time to go. That's what the director says. But El-Rufai from EFCC to ICPC, where next after the ICPC?
What I will ask El-Rufai now is to, entirely reduce the talk so he can manage what is on the ground for now. But please, while it all lasts, El-Rufai must be given opportunity as a free Nigerian to defend whatever allegations are leveled, against him.
Many thanks. Many thanks.
But for now, let him reduce the talk.
Many thanks, Chugide. Have a swell weekend. Break a leg.
Thank you.
Like Victor would say.
Good morning, Nigeria, with our conversation on the